What's up, Ragin Nation? How y'all doing? This is Alex Yu. You're watching the Ragin Nation Show Transformers 4 edition. This is just a web series where I talk about all the news and production updates for the production of the 4th installment of the Transformers live action film. Now, I just did a little bit of a blurb talking about some casting rumors in the previous episode. Now, let's talk about some other updates. And the main thing that I have to talk about is that in an interview, Mark Wahlberg mentioned that Transformers 4 will be shooting in May. And that's just about right, because if you remember back during the production of the first 3 movies, they shot around May or June, just because in order for them to make the release date for the following summer, that's just the right amount of time for principal photography, a little bit of second unit stuff, and possibly some reshoots, and of course, they need months and months for the CG post-production work. Now, that's the main update that I have for you guys. Now, he also mentioned another thing which I thought was kind of significant. And during the interview, he was quoted saying this: "I'm really excited about Transformers. Michael Bay and I just did Pain and Gain, and we had such a good time making it." He came to me and said, "I'm kind of doing a whole different reboot on Transformers. Are you interested?" Now, that is where I have to make a comment, and the key word is being reboot. Now, if you remember in my previous vlogs, I was mentioning that Transformers 4 is going to be a reboot. Now, I'm not here to prove whether I'm right or wrong. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm just here to say that this statement reinforces what I said about the 4th installment of Transformers being a reboot. It's not going to be a direct sequel. But let's look back into the timeline of when this R word was being used. Michael Bay, after completing Transformers Dark of the Moon, mentioned that he wanted to end it with a bang, and that in order for it to start up again, they're going to have to reboot it. That was the first time where the word reboot was being used. And then afterwards, after the big box office success of Transformers Dark of the Moon, producer Don Murphy mentioned that, what are we going to do with the franchise? Certainly not a reboot. And, I called him out on that, and I said, what are you talking about? Of course it's going to be a reboot. Michael Bay said so. And then afterwards, Hasbro CEO Brian Goldner mentioned that it wasn't going to be a reboot. And then after that, in another interview, Michael Bay said that, okay, it's not really going to be a reboot, but it's not going to be a direct sequel in the sense that we're going to continue the adventures of Sam Witwicky. It's not going to be about that. The story is going to go through an entire new direction. We're going to have an all-new cast. And by cast, he means human cast and robot cast. So with all that being said, no, it's not a brand new reboot, but in his exact words, it's kind of a reboot. So it's not a direct sequel. There is no Sam Witwicky. It's all new human cast. And of course, that means an all new robot cast, with the exception of Optimus Prime. You cannot have Transformers without Optimus Prime, and therefore Peter Cullen is back. But I'm pretty sure that everybody else is gone. I mean, it's even possible that they might even remove Bumblebee from the cast. And if they do, I won't be surprised, because without Sam Witwicky, Bumblebee is Sam Witwicky's guardian, so they might have just left off together. So if Bumblebee's gone, I won't be surprised by that. Let's face it, there are tons of other characters that can be brought into the franchise. And if they want to make this to be kind of a reboot, that means no longer going through the adventures of the characters that we had before in the previous 3 movies. If they kept any of the same characters from the previous 3 movies, it just will feel like that the Autobots and the humans are dealing with yet another alien invasion. And you know what? For a 4th Transformers movie, I think it's about time they did something different. And that's what Michael Bay is doing. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Michael Bay is off to do something very different. I mean, the visual style and the action might all be the same, and he's going to up the ante, but with an all-new human and all-new robot cast, it's going to feel a little different. And with that being said, you might as well call it a reboot. They are doing something very different, and it might not feel like a direct sequel, but it will be called Transformers 4. Anyways, I'm not making this video to say that I told you so, it's going to be a reboot. I'm just here to state the facts. And the fact is that they want to do something entirely different from the first 3 movies. And the first thing they could do is start off by changing the entire cast and bringing in a whole new story. And that's all I have to say. Transformers 4 comes out summer 2014 and it shoots in May. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more updates for Transformers 4, hit that subscribe button. If you want to talk about this on Facebook, like the Ragin Nation Facebook page. And if you have Twitter, follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu, and thanks for watching another episode of Transformers 4 updates at the Ragin Nation Show. And I'll see you next time. Peace. and negativity. And I'm trying to understand why this is. I don't know what Brandon Thwaites does, but it looks like his hairdo could be used as a mop. But that's the only comment I can make. Other than that, he looks like he could fit the